Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making a card with the Ornate Style stamp set and the dies that goes with it. This is the card we'll be making. And in this card I'll be giving you some tips on how I choose my colors to make this card and how it affects the card by the colors you choose, and some little tips that I have used to fussy cut on the. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. So let's get started. Today I did a lot of the pre-cutting of this card. I'm just going to kind of go through tell you what my thought process was of doing it. This Happy Thanksgiving is from this set right here called Word Wishes. Now they also have other word dies with Stampin' Up right now. And in the Christmas catalog, they're coming out with more. Here's some to do with coffee and stuff like that. That would be good too with the cards the colors that I chose here. So anyway, that's that. And I did use the Ornate Style stamp set, and their dies. This is some special paper here that I've used for my mats. The Ornate. I used a die set called Ornate Layer dies to cut these two dies and this little strip here. This is just cut out of very vanilla paper, and I cut the bigger one and the smaller one out of this color velveteen paper pack. It comes in the colors of Cinnamon Cider, Highland Heather, and Soft Seafoam. And it has a very smooth velvet-like texture to it. And so anyway, I did cut those out of that, and I did cut a piece of a very vanilla cardstock for my card base. It is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. These I will go ahead and glue down straight to here, and I did stamp this one all the way around. I'd try to get it as even as I could on my little block here, and then try to put this as close to the corners as the end of the block to kind of give it that look, and try to keep it as even as I could. Okay. And for this I did stamp it in the Memento ink and colored it with my markers, the blends. I colored them with the Stampin' Blends. And since I wanted to use these colors here, I wanted to keep my colors soft and muted. In other words, I wanted the effect of a very bright floral thing. I wanted to keep it soft. Made a stencil with a punch, and then just put it inside the colors inside of each one of these of my markers. When you do this, you might think one color goes good by looking at the ends of the marker, but you really can't tell. So it's always better if you go ahead and use your product on a piece of paper so you can see it better, okay? And so determined, I started off with the yellow flowers, the little yellow daisies here, and I knew I wanted something soft, like I said. So I picked the So Saffron light, and I went back into the centers with the So Saffron dark, but it wasn't dark enough for me. So I went ahead and used the Daffodil Delight dark to put the with the Cajun Craze light for the centers of that. Okay, now this was done in the Cajun cage light and dark, the center flower. And as you can notice, I left a little bit of highlights by just leaving the paper white in certain spots, okay? That kind of gives you a little bit of highlights without all the work. And then, again, in order to keep it soft all the way around, because I wanted this flower to be the main flower, to show up the most, to say, oh, well, that's the main flower. So for here, I kept them soft, and I used the Calypso Coral Light for the whole flower, and just dotted the center again to bring it all together with the Cajun Craze. This has got the Cajun Craze in the center, and I wanted to keep that that flower very unnoticed, basic is what I should say. And so I used the ivory. And in order to put a little bit of the shadows in this, I didn't want it that dark, so I went ahead and used the light crumb cake for the shadows. And again, left the very tips of those white. For the leaves, I used my seafoam green. This is the same color as this cardstock here, or that velveteen paper. Now, my idea, once I put this together, I think I need to go back and darken the shadows of that seafoam green just a little bit. So what color would I use? I think I'm going to try the mint macaron in the light. Like I said, just because you see this, you might decide, well, I need something. And to me, it needs to be drawn in a little bit more, the leaves, because they're too flat looking. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and use. I'm going to try the mint macaron in the light. Now this is the light mint macaron as far as color caps, and this is the light seafoam. So you can see that they really don't go together, but it is a little bit more intense color than even the dark. You may or may, I can't see that. On this color thing, it looks like this one's the darker color. But let's find out if it is or not. I think according to my little demonstration here, I will be dark enough by just using that. But if I'm not, I can go even darker by using the dark mint, maybe even that light graphite, or would even do it. And then the way you would find out is go ahead and stamp it on something and try it out before you do it on your project. Okay, I still think it needs to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to go ahead and go to that let's see if there's anything that's, the Cajun Craze is too dark. You can see that it's too dark. Nothing there that I can see that would blend well. This is almost too dark. But maybe not. Since this center flower is so dark, it might need a little of that darker to make it work together. Look at those grays one more time. These are all warm colors. I don't really think I want to put a gray in there, so I'm going to stick with that mint macaron in the dark. And like I said, it's quite a bit darker, so I probably will need to yes, that seems to work fine. Don't want to go too crazy with it because I don't want it overran with the dark. And just that little bit behind these flowers, it's enough to pull your eye back in the project here. Doesn't look so flat. Now I did do some fussy cutting because they don't have a die that goes with this. Now by doing that, I think maybe this color needs a little bit more of a darker shadow too. So I used this and this crumb cake in that. I don't want to go as dark as that crumb cake, but maybe a little bit of the bronze. I used the Cajun Craze light to use for the center of this one. Or even the soft suede would be a little bit darker. This would be more of an ashy color. This would be more of a warmer color, the bronze. And by looking at this, I think the warmer color would look better. Because again, it's a warmer look to it. So let's go with the bronze on this. And so, again, I will be very sparing with this. And if it does get too dark, which I think it will be okay, I can go in and lighten it up by using the ivory over it. If nothing else, I can blend the edges of it so it'll blend in better. So I just put that in the center of the petals here. Okay, and I'll go in with my ivory. And I'm on my bullet end because I like to scrub with that end and just blend where those two colors meet. And that will soften the edge. Okay. Now I think a little bit of shine, a shimmer to maybe these would be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some of the clear Wink Stella and add that to these little Calypso Coral light flowers, just to give a little special interest here. Now for the cutting on the inside, I did cut this with a blade, a finger blade, in on a mat, this part of it. But this one I thought, well, instead of doing all those little bitty pieces, and I really did like that dark background being behind there, I just went ahead and cut it apart just so it stayed together here. And just cut my little pieces in. See, I just cut them all apart. And then when I put them back together, and I will need to use glue dots in order to get that to stick on top of this velveteen paper. I'll just put the glue dots behind these and then just press it down real good. So let's get that done. And I'll just stick that where I think it's the best. Go ahead and take my bone folder. press those glue dots in there real good. And again, I'm going to need more glue dots for this. That I put this on first. I cut this out, like I said, of the, well, yeah. I just used this as a half inch, yeah, about a half inch strip, and I just laid it on the die over the top of it, just to give it the same hoe pattern as this is. I didn't really like it going away all the way across it, so, you know, when you're creating yours, you do what you feel is the best, but that's the way I liked it the best. So again, I'm going to put 2 glue dots just on this, because it's going to the velveteen again. And I'm going to move it over about this one. I had mine about an 1 1/8 inches from the edge here. Okay, go ahead and squeeze all those together. Now the back of this paper is fine to glue down with your regular glue. And since I'm not sure if I'm going to use this as a Thanksgiving card or not, I'm not going to put the glue of the Thanksgiving in just yet, but you would know how to glue it in. So, and if it was me, I would go ahead and just use the marker to dot the eyes. Now you can catch those little bitty pieces and try to glue them in there, but that's too fiddly for me. So you just take your own decision what you want to do with that. But that's what I would do. I would just make my 2 dots there. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope to be seeing you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.